Well, good afternoon, everyone. We get started talking about the press release that we have coming out, or that just came out. We're going to wear a helmet sticker on the helmets down at the TaxAct Texas Bowl. A lot of K-Staters and fellow Kansas and Western Kansas were dealt that devastating blow on December 15th when the fires fueled by the 100-plus mile an hour winds and burned over 400,000 acres and destroyed homes, vehicles, barns, thousands of head of cattle, and our hearts go out to the people in Western Kansas, and it's just a small thing for us to show our support for people throughout the state that have had such impacted their lives so much. So we'll wear a helmet sticker on the 4th and show our support for those people, and our thoughts and prayers are with everybody that has had so much loss. So moving on to football, we just finished up another practice this morning. We'll have 2 more practices here before we cut them loose for about 5 or 6 days and reconvene. I think it's like the 29th or 30th, and then start our prep again for the game on the 4th. We've had really good practices. We'll get, in my mind, six good practices. We had a day off in between there, but 6 good practices before we cut them loose for a little while. So a lot of the game plan is in. We just need to fine-tune some things and continue to work our young guys too. That's the other part of everything in our bowl prep practices. We're always working developmental stuff. It's not just LSU stuff. It's working a lot of our younger players, whether it's drill work or teamwork, just to take advantage of this time. And Coach True's got the developmental guys in the weight room quite a bit too. So it's obviously it's the great reward for all of us to be able to continue to practice, continue to develop these players.
Is Skylar on track to play in the bowl game right now?
He's trending in the right direction, Kellis. He's practiced. We hope he doesn't have any setbacks, and if he doesn't, then in all likelihood he'll play, and we're excited about that. And we still have a couple weeks away, so I don't want to, in case we have a setback or anything, but right now he's trending in the right direction.
And while we're on the subject of quarterbacks, you added a transfer, the first one you've landed since you've been at Kansas State. What was it about Adrian Martinez that drew you to him, and why do you think he'll be a good fit for you guys?
Well, the person, for starters, he was able to come down here and spend some time with Coach Klein and I, and competitor, really intelligent, really mature, fit in with our guys around campus, and I think he came to a practice and just and I've watched him over the last few years, and he's a true dual threat guy that can run it, can throw it. Excited for him, excited for us to bring him aboard and part of the K-State family. I think he can be a terrific football player.
What's the status of his injury? I know he had the shoulder surgery. When would you expect him to be able to participate?
Yeah, I don't think he'll be cut loose full go in spring ball. And he might be able to do some things, but he wouldn't be in any contact, or I don't know how much he'll be cutting it loose in March. But that's okay. He come in and learn the system and learn our guys and learn terminology, and continues to allow ourselves to keep getting the 3 guys that we have here ready to go and continue to progress. Will and Jaron and Jake. Max, we've decided to move to safety, and I'm excited because Max Marsh is a really good athlete, and so he's going to add some depth and get a chance to compete for significant playing time over there for next year.
How did those other 3 quarterbacks who were coming back handle the news of you bringing in an older transfer?
Well, you're going to have competition no matter what, whether it's within the program or from outside the program, and they have an unbelievable relationship and rapport with Coach Klein. And so I know Colin brought him in and visited with them about that. And we're always going to try to add competition talent to our football team, whether it's a defensive back to an O-lineman to a quarterback. And I know that's the position everybody looks at. But in general, we're always going to add competition.
Since you didn't have the opportunity to play in a bowl game last year, has it been more buzz, more excitement around the team this year preparing for LSU?
Yeah, absolutely it has. For a lot of reasons. One, it gives us another chance to be together as a football team. This is a close-knit group of guys that cares a lot about each other and enjoys each other's company. Gives us a chance, like we talked about, of having our developmental guys continue to get a lot of reps, have Coach True work with those guys. And for us being the extended or late game on January 4th, even though we'll have a little time off, it's really given us almost a full extra month with these guys.
Just with that extra development, what are some of the important things you're looking for to develop the younger players?
Just continuing to learn our terminology, continuing to learn basic fundamentals of blocking and tackling and getting off blocks and catching the ball, and special teams drills have been a big emphasis for us. There's so many things that we do drill work-wise on special teams that carries over to offense and defense. And so, we've done a really nice job, I think, of bringing these guys along and making sure that they understand how important these reps are they're getting, because it allows us to kind of decide on some depth charts as we get into spring.
Among those developmental guys, have any kind of stood out to you over this process?
Yeah, Cody Stuffelbein is a guy that I think is going to be a really impactful guy here. I'm really excited about what Cody has done. As a guy that nobody would know much about, but he's a Kansan kid that I think the world of. And he's probably the guy that I just see every day keep showing up.
In your pre-Texas prep and discussions with Will, was it kind of discussed that, well, maybe the red shirt will be more able to do that in next year?
Well, we still don't know Skylar's true fate as far as we think he's going to be able to play, and we hopefully he is. But if not, then will play this game. That's kind of the thought we had going into Texas, is there's a chance he's going to play in one, if not two football games. And so, you're healthy and you get an opportunity to play. Competitors want to play, and that's what Will is. He's a tremendous competitor, and he's played a decent amount of football for maybe having to cost him 1 year and not 2 years. And so, you're healthy, you're able to play. I've seen a lot of situations where you hold somebody back and then the next year they get hurt and you say you wish you would have. So, we kind of have to live in the present right now, and that's what we're doing with Will.
So where does your depth kind of shake out a running back at present?
Well, we still have number 22, and Deuce is going to get the lion's share of the reps, and then it'll just kind of be running back by committee with everybody else on the roster.
How challenging has preparing for LSU been with all of their opt-outs and everything?
Yeah, it's been challenging, but they're still LSU, and I know that we as coaches and our players, especially our older guys, know that no matter who they put out, there's going to be a pretty good football player, and a guy that even if he hasn't played, maybe it's his opportunity. Just like we're going to have some guys that are going to have an opportunity that haven't played a lot of football for us, and that's a great thing for college football. It's not great when people opt out and don't play in games, but that is what it is. That's not going to change. But it is exciting for the guys that do get an opportunity, because maybe they were a guy that felt like he should have been in, or somebody that they think really highly of. And so we know that there's a reason they're at LSU, because they're extremely talented players. And no matter if it's somebody that we watched on film or the next guy that steps up, they're going to have really good football players.
I know it's hard to prepare for a team. You don't know who exactly is going to play for them. But what do they do schematically, offensively, and defensively that catches your attention?
They run the football on offense, and they have a really good offensive line. And most of those guys, I believe, are going to play. The running back's a really good player. That's their bread and butter. And then they run the RPO game off it with some slants and glances and bubbles and things, and then they can stretch the field because they have wide receivers that can really go. So offensively, they're really explosive, but yet they can probably just pound it at you all day. And then on defense, they're going to come after us. I really believe that they're going to be a pressure team. That's what they've gone to the last maybe third of the season. Played played a lot more man coverage. Now maybe they'll change again, but we've seen it on both playing zone early and then man late. But just the ability to put pressure on the passer is one of our biggest concerns because they have really good players up front, and then they bring a lot of different blitzes.
The date of this game is odd, but with everything going on right now, are you worried about kids going home for 4, 5, 6 days? Maybe someone getting in their ear about the transfer portal or getting exposed to this variant?
Absolutely, on all accounts. But that's everybody else is going through the same thing too. And right now, just as everything is trending, would have been great to play all these bowl games before Christmas. Maybe we'd have gotten more of them in, and knock on wood, we continue to get them all in. That's the hope. It's a concern. We talk about it with our guys quite a bit, and we know we're sending them home. But you got to give them a break. It's Christmas, and we just got to make sure that vaccinated or non-vaccinated kids are still getting this, from what we understand. And so, got to do a great job protecting yourself, and more importantly, protecting the loved ones you're going back to see.
What LSU quarterback are you preparing for in this game right now?
It's a good question. I mean, the young kid for starters, the Nussmeier, which we probably believe he'll play, but who knows? That's kind of the thought right now. But they've played a couple different guys throughout the season, and maybe they have different skill sets. I mean, they know better than we do, but their offense is still going to run through the running backs and the O-line.
Just checking, have you had any opt-outs on the team? Or is everybody...
We have not. We've still had some flu bug guys. We're still missing a guy here or there, a few each day, it seems like. But knock on wood, we continue to stay healthy, and guys stay with the program.
Why do you think this bowl game means so much to seniors like Skylar and everybody else when seniors elsewhere are opting out? Why are these guys full on board trying to win?
A couple reasons. One, a few of these guys were a part of the bowl game when it played UCLA a few years back, but probably didn't play very much. Didn't have success against Navy. A lot of guys were here for that. Thought Navy was a good football team and had a chance to win and didn't do it. And then last year, I think, going through last year, as difficult as it was from a COVID standpoint, one of the things that I think is so unique about college football is the bowl system, the playoff system, postseason in general. That there was probably a lot of guys bummed last year that we didn't get an opportunity to play in a bowl game. And I know that a number of those seniors want that last opportunity to play together. And what a great opponent, and what a great bowl. I heard nothing but phenomenal things about the Texas Bowl and how they treat the student athletes and the experience for our guys. And I know our guys are chomping at the bit because they really want to play together one more time. And that's a sign of a really good group of seniors and leaders that have stuck together through an awful long time.
Coach, I saw Joe Hall picked up a K-State offer recently. I'm assuming you saw him play with your son at Manhattan. What did you see in him that you liked?
I can't really comment on that stuff right now. Okay.
Maybe this one's different. What's your relationship with his dad? I know his dad works here. Are you able to just tell me about how you know him?
Yeah, Joe's was a great player here. Joe's senior, and we hired him my first year here, and has done a really, really nice job for us and developing our players and stuff. Just with all the recruiting legislation out there, I really can't comment on the other part of that right now.
Speaking of recruiting, have you had any discussions with this past year's seniors yet? And especially since you're in a bowl game, you kind of have to start thinking ahead.
Yeah, I have, but I'm going to let those guys announce when they want to announce what they're going to do. I think that's kind of I think more appropriate for those guys. The ones that there's some that are coming back, and then there's some that have jobs and are going to go play in the NFL. And I just think it's better for those guys to be able to announce that when they want to.
Are you pretty sure about what have you? I guess, do you know pretty much what most of them are?
Yeah, pretty much. There's maybe a couple that are still up in the air, and I've given them that space because if they're not ready to make that decision, then I'm not going to press upon it. It's too big of a decision for some of these guys that potentially are going to be done playing. And when we talked, I think when we had an open week in early December, asked a few about it, and they said, Coach, can I just have more time? And absolutely. They've done so much for K-State football, done so much for me. I can give them a little bit more time.
The other transfer portal member, Joshua Hayes, how would you address his impact?
Josh will have a big impact. I know Josh well. I know his family well. He was recruited by us at North Dakota State in 2017 as a true freshman. We had some guys get hurt and started at corner in a national championship game and really shut down one of the best receivers in FCS that day. And so I know his ability, and he's a physical corner. He's a good man coverage guy. We're going to play him at nickel and at corner. Knows parents really well, and so excited that Coach Klanderman and myself get another year to end Josh's college days.
Ryan Hennington organized a big fundraiser, toy drive event for kids in the community. Just what can you tell us about Ryan and him putting that all together?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. He asked me about it a couple weeks back, and he was really passionate about it, and that's the way Ryan is, and his family is, and his roommates. I know that Fletch was involved, and I know that Ross Elder and some other guys were involved, but they raised an awful lot of money and took care of countless families, and were able to have those people have a special Christmas. But that's Ryan Hennington, and that's our seniors, and senior class is their first class. And he talked about it to our team after practice today about the importance of giving back to this community. And, there's a sellout or close to a sellout for every home game because of the kids on our team. We hope the products continue to improve, and we're working on that. But to support those kids that do a lot for this community is pretty cool, and they love this community. And so Henny did that, and with a bunch of his teammates, and made a really special Christmas for a lot of families.
And then your son Colby is committed to play football at Kansas Wesleyan, and this past week their head coach took a position as the head coach at Western Illinois. I was just curious if maybe you've been in contact with him with your familiarity with the Valley.
Yeah, I congratulated him, and probably just similar to the other question, I probably can't comment on that little Klieman kid because I don't want him to lose any eligibility as well. But let's just say Colby understands the business, and so I said, "Well, son, this is welcome to college football," and he's still going to head on over to Kansas Wesleyan.
Just on the coaching side of that, I mean, you're familiar obviously with the Valley and the challenges that are there because of some of the solid football that's played. But for a coach like Hendrickson moving from Kansas Wesleyan to Western Illinois, what would you say might be one of the bigger challenges stepping into a coaching position in that conference?
The physicality, and you got to be ready to play every week, just like every other conference. But Myers is a really good football coach, and look at the success he had at Kansas Wesleyan. And you can say it's NAI. I don't care. Football's football. You've heard me say that a million times. I know his dad real well, and his dad had great success at Western Illinois. So for Western Illinois to bring another Hendrickson back, smart move, because Myers is going to do a great job there.
I want to spotlight three players just from this season, and Deuce Vaughn, Felix Anudike, Zoma, and Cooper Beebe. Just tell me how important those three guys have been to success.
For starters, they're great leaders. They're great people off the field. They do things right in the classroom. They do things right in the weight room. They're leading by example in what they do, and then they're terrific football players that impact every game. And you hear about Deuce and you hear about Felix so much. The guy that's really unsung is Cooper. Cooper, all year long, I thought, was an all Big 12 offensive lineman, and was rewarded with that honor. And I just love the way he goes about his business and works and continues to help the young kids as well. But three impactful guys on and off the field for K-State.
And then just want to ask about Khalid Duke and see where his injury report is that?
Well, we see him on the sideline every day at practice and think, boy, if that kid were out there coming off the edge, it'd give us another guy. It'd give us another player with Felix and Nate and Boom and those guys. But his progress is great. He's probably going to miss a significant part of spring ball. We'll do a bunch of movement skills for him, but he's not going to get in any contact. Typically you don't with that injury that he had. But he'll be full go for next fall, and we'll give him enough individual and some other reps in spring, but keep him out of contact because he won't be ready for contact yet. But Cleat will be back next year for sure.
You mentioned Max. Have you had any other players switch positions during bowl prep?
He's the main one that I can think of. I don't think there's been anybody else. Max is the main one that he still does some scout team quarterback for us, but he's a tremendous athlete. He's really strong, put some weight on, and we need some help in the secondary. And so we decided, and we talked to Colin and we talked to Max, and Max was all excited about it because he always worked special teams drills for us throughout the season and was a backup on a few teams, and now he's going to get an opportunity to have a full spring and a full winter with Coach Klieman.
And I don't know how far you are into game planning for LSU, but how different do you envision the offense looking with the new coordinator for this game?
Well, you can only change so much in this amount of time with us being on the road for 2 weeks. Finals the third week. This is really our first prep that we have had, so probably a few subtle changes, but it's not like we're going to run the wishbone or anything. So, I mean, there'll be a few subtle things.
I guess Russ East is going to be coming in to talk to us. Just wanted to maybe just get your thoughts on the season he had.
Phenomenal season. One of the best transfer portal additions in the country. And we were fortunate enough to land Russ. Had a lot of conversations with his parents, and they believed that this was a great place, just like Russ did. And he's been a great football player, been a great mentor for younger players. He's going to get a chance to play on Sunday. I really believe that, and has just had a phenomenal season. And once again, was rewarded as well, like he should have been, because he was darn good this year.
Anything else? What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, Elf, probably. I mean, I've watched that enough with my kids and stuff, so that's always a good one. And you guys really, we could probably get Brian LePack in here and do a Christmas Carol for you. I'm telling you, it's going to blow your mind, the talent that this guy has. Why is he coaching football?